Okay, so we've already discussed what problem I'm going to investigate, which is the diamonds in Sierra Leone. But now, after I've done a little bit of more research, we're going to talk about the history of the problem. Sierra Leone's history with diamonds and I guess the problems behind them goes back, I don't even know how long, but a very long time. Because as long as there has been this resource and the market to sell it, there has been a problem with it. And the problem is always the same. It's this greed. So first of all, the greed came from the diamond traders. And then people started complaining. They're like, these diamond traders, they have this corner on this awesome market. They're greedy, they're mean. I don't want them in charge of it. And so the government's like, don't worry, we'll fix it. So then the government stepped in, and it was hunky-dory, pretty good, for a little while. But then the government started getting corrupt too. And so essentially, the problem doesn't change. It's just the people who have the problem. Go figure. Um, so then once the government started being all crazy, that's when there was a civil war, and the civil war was actually one of the most devastating things I think I've ever read about. I wasn't aware of, how tragic it was and how about the diamonds it was because I never even really thought about it and never had the interest to, research it before. But now that I have, my eyes are very open. What happened was there would be like these armies that would go around, attacking each other, the government army, and then like the rebel forces, and um, and there's the RUF, the Revolutionary United Front, and they first started out, as being like a good army. People liked them. They were like, getting the job done, getting like bringing these people to justice. Then the RUF started going all crazy, and they were like, no, we want, to be in charge of the diamond trade because they got greedy. And so the RUF would go around and they would they would burn villages to the ground. They would, you know, just be brutes. But the worst thing that I read about that they did was for the children. They would take the children because the children they have their lives ahead of them, and they wouldn't kill them. Not all. Well, I mean they would kill some of them, I'm sure. But the thing that they would do to most of them is they would cut off their arms or their hands or their legs or just maim them in any way that they could so that these children could not grow up to work in the mines, the diamond mines. So they couldn't, like, there's no way that these kids could ever, steal these diamonds from them. They wanted to make sure that they had that corner, and so they went to these extreme measures. And that is just revolting to me, and really sad. And so, it's just a really big pity. Um, and so that was a journey to the problem. Like people, when you get to the diamond trade in Sierra Leone, it's not like a happy, oh, I'm engaged. Like, that's not what people think of. They think of the limbs that they've lost, limbs that their family members have lost, the children that they've lost through loss of blood because of this. They think of the RUF, and the RUF was eventually shut down because, people came in to help, like, get rid of it because they were so, so terrible. Um, but recently, the RUF has started back up again, um, and they actually are represented just a little bit. Like they do not have a lot of supporters among the commoners, but like they have a few people, I guess, in their parliament um, from this party, and you do not want people like this making laws. But that just goes back to what I was saying before in my other video about how this cycle, this problem, it doesn't cease to exist. Just who has the problem, the greed problem, that is just whoever is in charge at the moment. It doesn't seem like anyone can escape it. It's really, really tough. So that is the history of Sierra Leone's problem with the diamonds. But then that problem, that brings about other problems. For example, on my website, you probably have seen it by now, I have a picture of, I think, some beaches at Sierra Leone. And they're beautiful. Like, people would pay so much money to go there. And they used to. But then everything went all crazy over there. And so people don't want to go there. You could get your arm chopped off by the People's United Revolutionary Front. or like now, it's still dangerous. There are still riots. Embassy workers, they have a curfew and they can only travel on certain roads, and they always have to carry their phone completely charged, and you have to be so careful when you're there. So no one wants to go. Um, and but I know that Sierra Leone can make so much money off of tourism, but no one wants to go because they're feared for their lives. Um, and so that all, like, again, it traces back to the diamond trade. Um, and then also the diamond trade itself. If you are possibly gonna get killed by some RUF leader or by anyone, would you go to Sierra Leone? Would you take the risk when there are diamonds elsewhere? There are some people that do take the risk, but I know they're missing out on lots of business ventures and business opportunities, and which could really spur their economy. And let's face it, everyone needs, their economy to get back on track right now. And so, um, again, that all goes back to the diamonds and the greed. And so that is the history that I have about Sierra Leone's diamond trade. It's very simplified, but I think it suffices to show you that there is a big problem and that diamonds, it is a legit problem. All right.